Welcome jewels of inestimable value. Not every shadow hides a villain. Sometimes it conceals a warrior protecting her own peace. Behind the poised, enigmatic facade of a Sigma female lies a world most people never get to see. She is fiercely independent, walking her own path without the need for validation or applause. But this solitary strength comes with a dark side, a side that she guards as fiercely as her freedom. While her mystery is captivating, it's what lies beneath that truly holds the power. Those close enough to catch a glimpse are left wondering, is her darkness her shield, or is it her downfall? As we uncover the shadows that linger in her world, you might find that there's more to her complexity than meets the eye, secrets that could leave you questioning everything you thought you knew. Number 1. Uncompromising standards, even when it hurts. A Sigma female's standards are so high they might as well be orbiting in space. She doesn't just want the best, she wants the best on her terms. No compromises, no shortcuts. If a person doesn't align with her values, they can take a hike, no matter how lonely that path gets. She's fiercely protective of her time, energy, and the life she's built. To her, settling is like accepting a pizza with pineapple when she explicitly ordered pepperoni. She'd rather go hungry than take a bite. And that hunger for something more is what keeps her holding out, even when it means she's dining alone. Her sky-high standards aren't about arrogance or snobbery. They're about knowing her worth and refusing to accept anything less than she deserves. She believes that if she's put in the work to become the person she is, then the people in her life should bring that same level of effort and authenticity. This might mean walking away from relationships that could have been good enough, but she's convinced that good enough is just a fancy way of saying not right. And if she has to spend a few nights binge-watching shows solo, rather than spending time with people who don't meet her standards, well, she's got a subscription to the streaming service anyway. But here's the twist. Behind that rigid determination, there's a part of her that wonders if she's being too strict. When she pushes people away because they don't match her expectations, she's left with her thoughts and a nagging question of whether that deep, underlying loneliness is a price worth paying. Still, she'd rather wrestle with that lonely feeling than deal with a connection that doesn't feel right. In her world, it's all or nothing, even if nothing sometimes comes with a side of solitude. Number 2. Impenetrable walls around emotions. A Sigma female is a master at building emotional walls, ones that no one else can penetrate. She's learned early on that vulnerability can be a dangerous game, and she's become an expert in keeping her emotions tightly locked away. When others share their feelings openly, she listens but doesn't reciprocate, maintaining an air of mystery that makes people wonder what's really going on inside. It's not that she's heartless. She feels deeply, perhaps even more than most. But expressing those feelings? That's a different story. Her need to protect herself from emotional vulnerability comes from a place of survival, not indifference. She's been let down or hurt before, and now she sees every emotional attachment as a potential risk, a weak spot in her otherwise flawless armor. This makes her wary of letting people get too close, even those who genuinely care about her. It's like she's surrounded by an invisible moat, and to cross it, someone has to prove they're worth the effort. The problem is she rarely believes anyone truly is. Yet while this emotional self-containment makes her seem untouchable, it's also her own trap. She craves connection like anyone else, but her instinct to build those high walls often leaves her isolated, even when she doesn't want to be. She's the type who can sit in a room full of people and feel completely alone, because no one ever gets past the layers she's carefully put in place. The irony? The very thing she relies on to protect herself is also what keeps her from forming deeper, meaningful relationships. It's a lonely paradox that she's aware of, but she'd rather bear that burden than risk the possibility of being hurt. For her, solitude feels safer than any embrace. Number 3. Silent disdain for weakness. A Sigma female has a radar for emotional neediness, and when it pings, she can barely suppress an eye roll. It's not that she's heartless, she's just wired for efficiency, both in life and emotions. When faced with someone who can't make up their mind or needs constant reassurance, her patience has a way of evaporating faster than morning dew. To her, indecisiveness is like a slow-loading website. She just can't understand why it takes so long and why she has to wait around for it. She's all about clarity, decisiveness, and keeping things moving. If someone keeps hitting her with "I don't know what to do" or "I just need to talk for the 10th time this week," she's already mentally checking out, heading back to her inner world where things make sense. It's not that she doesn't understand the struggle. She gets that life can be tough and feelings can get messy. She just thinks that wallowing isn't the answer. In her mind, you deal with it, you sort it out, and you move on. Her own approach to problems is like ripping off a Band-Aid, quick, clean, and straight to the point. So when others linger over their wounds, her frustration bubbles to the surface. She tries to hide it, but it leaks out in the form of a cold stare or an awkward silence, making it clear that she's not going to play therapist. This tendency makes her come across as detached, even ruthless, especially to those looking for a comforting word or a gentle nudge. She's more likely to tell someone to toughen up than to offer a shoulder to cry on. In her mind, life's too short to be stuck in an endless loop of indecision. So, while she's not cold-hearted, she definitely believes in a more no-nonsense approach to feelings. If people can't keep up, they might find themselves on the receiving end of her silent, almost comical disdain. Number 4. Chasing the idea of perfection. A Sigma female is like a sculptor with a vision, always chiseling away at life to create something closer to perfection. But while she's relentless about refining herself, she expects others to keep up too. In her mind, the world could always be a bit sharper, a bit smarter, a bit more driven. And if someone in her circle isn't pushing themselves with the same ferocity, she starts to see them as dead weight, a blemish in her otherwise carefully curated world. That's when she pulls out her trusty tool, distance, and carves them out of her life with the precision of a surgeon. This drive to chase perfection isn't limited to just her own ambitions. It seeps into her relationships too. She dreams of a world where everyone around her is as committed to constant growth as she is. But reality often doesn't match up. People come with flaws, quirks, and let's be real, a bit of laziness now and then. And while most would roll with these imperfections, she finds herself stepping back, unable to tolerate the gaps between her ideal and their reality. It's like trying to run a marathon with a partner who stops at every corner for a snack break. She just can't relate. To those who don't make the cut, she can seem like a high and mighty perfectionist, someone too good for the everyday messiness of human relationships. Her standards can feel like an impossible gauntlet, leaving others feeling like they're auditioning for a role in her life that they're never going to land. The irony? This perfectionism keeps her sharp and always striving for better, but it also leaves her alone, polishing her solitude like a prized possession. She'd rather be lonely than settle for less, but every so often, even she wonders if this quest for the perfect life is worth the emptiness it sometimes brings. Number 5. Isolation as a self-defense mechanism. For a Sigma female, isolation is more than just a preference. It's a defense mechanism. When life gets overwhelming, when emotions run high, or when the noise of the world becomes too much, she retreats into solitude. She chooses to disappear into her own space, away from the prying eyes and the constant demands of others. It's her way of resetting and regaining control, a strategy she's perfected to protect her peace. But there's a darker side to this retreat. It's not just about needing alone time, it's about avoiding vulnerability. To her, solitude is the safest place because it means no one can disappoint or betray her. When things get messy, she doesn't reach out for support or comfort like others might. Instead, she pulls away, creating distance between herself and the people who want to be there for her. It's not that she doesn't care about those people, but she's learned that keeping a certain distance prevents her from getting hurt. She sees emotional closeness as a potential threat, so she shuts down even when deep down she might wish for someone to break through that distance. This habit of retreating isn't just about self-preservation, though. It's also about control. In her solitude, she gets to dictate the terms. No one can ask her to open up, no one can see her struggle, and no one can judge her decisions. But in choosing this path, she often ends up isolating herself even when she doesn't need to. People who care about her feel shut out, left wondering why she won't let them in. The silence she uses to keep herself safe becomes a barrier to real connection. Ultimately, her self-imposed isolation may keep her from being hurt, but it also keeps her from the warmth of genuine human connection. Number 6. Empathy filtered through logic. A Sigma female approaches empathy like a scientist examining a rare specimen under a microscope, curious but very much detached. While she can identify emotions, her understanding of them often runs through a gauntlet of logic first. Picture her in a heart-to-heart, and you'll find her analyzing feelings like she's dissecting a complex math problem. You feel sad. Let's quantify that sadness. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you really want to cry right now? For her, emotions are fascinating puzzles to solve, but she's far more interested in the why than the how of those feelings. This logical approach can come off as a bit chilly. When someone is pouring their heart out, she's not the type to reach for the tissues and provide a shoulder to cry on. Instead, she'll likely offer practical advice and a rational perspective, saying things like, "Well, if you think about it, your sadness might be a result of poor life choices, so let's strategize a plan." While her intentions are rooted in a desire to help, her method can make it feel like she's more of a coach than a confidant. Friends often leave conversations wondering if she genuinely cares or if she's just acting out the role of empathetic listener, like a well-rehearsed monologue. What's entertaining, and a little tragic, is that her friends often find themselves second-guessing her sincerity. Is she really feeling for them? Or is she just conducting an emotional experiment? It's like asking a robot to show compassion. It can comprehend the concept but lacks that warm, fuzzy delivery. This unique blend of empathy and logic makes her intriguing but also leaves her straddling the line between understanding and detachment. Deep down, she does care. She just can't help but filter it through that logical lens. So while her heart might be in the right place, good luck figuring out where that place actually is. Number 7. Calculative withdrawal. When a Sigma female senses drama, toxicity, or any sign of emotional chaos, she won't bother with confrontations or dramatic exits. She simply disappears. Her instinct is to withdraw, leaving behind situations that no longer align with her values or disrupt her inner peace. This withdrawal is calculated, not impulsive. She's not interested in hashing things out or giving explanations. She believes in conserving her energy, and to her, engaging in emotional battles is a waste of time she can't afford. Her silence becomes her statement. Her exit is her response. To those left behind, her vanishing act can feel like a cold, brutal cutoff. It's disorienting, like being ghosted by someone who used to care. But in her mind, this is her way of maintaining control over her life. She has no patience for people who bring unnecessary conflict into her world. If someone crosses her boundaries, she won't stick around to negotiate. It's her way of showing she's done, even if she never says it out loud. This silence speaks volumes. It's as if she's saying that whatever happened wasn't even worth the discussion. This tendency to vanish without warning comes from a deep-seated belief that it's better to walk away quietly than to stay in a situation that feels wrong. It's not about revenge or wanting the other person to miss her. It's about protecting her own space and sanity. But it leaves others feeling like they never got a chance to make things right, to fix whatever went wrong. They're left with more questions than answers, wondering if they ever meant anything to her at all. It's a ruthless move that might keep her world free from the chaos she despises, but it also leaves a trail of confusion and hurt that lingers long after she's gone. Number 8. Restless dissatisfaction. Beneath the polished exterior of a Sigma female lies a restless soul, fueled by an insatiable appetite for more knowledge, more experiences, more everything. She's like a shark in a sea of opportunity, perpetually swimming toward the next big thing, never stopping to bask in the warm, sunlit waters of contentment. For her, sitting still feels like an invitation to stagnation, and who wants to be caught in that trap? So she dives headfirst into the latest book, the newest hobby, or that intriguing course on quantum physics, because why not? It's not that she's dissatisfied with life, it's just that her curiosity is on a relentless quest for the extraordinary, and ordinary just doesn't cut it. This constant chase for more can make her seem like a bit of a thrill junkie, always seeking that next high of enlightenment or adventure. Friends might jokingly tease her about her never-ending quest, as if she's auditioning for a reality show titled, "Can You Ever Be Satisfied?" The truth is, every achievement feels like a fleeting moment of joy, quickly overshadowed by the nagging whisper of, "What's next?" She's that friend who finishes a book in a single sitting, only to immediately rush to the next one as if her literary buffet will vanish overnight. But beneath this tireless pursuit lies a shadow, an undercurrent of emptiness that can't be filled by experiences alone. While her life is a whirlwind of excitement, that persistent dissatisfaction looms large, reminding her that something is always missing. It's like having a never-ending to-do list where nothing ever truly gets crossed off. So, while she might seem like the life of the party, bubbling over with energy and enthusiasm, deep down, she's still that restless spirit searching for meaning in a world that often feels just out of reach. After all, it's one thing to chase the horizon and another to find out it was just a mirage all along. Number 9. Effortless Detachment. A Sigma. Female possesses a remarkable talent for effortless detachment, turning it into a fine art form that would make even the most seasoned magicians envious. When it comes to relationships, she's like a skilled archer, quick to release the bowstring the moment she senses any wobble in her emotional target. Trouble brewing? Red flags waving? She's out of there faster than you can say commitment issues. It's not that she's heartless, it's just that she's a pro at prioritizing her peace over emotional drama. And let's be honest, who has time for that? Her friends often marvel at her ability to walk away from tumultuous situations as if she's just traded in an old car for a shiny new model. While the rest of us are stuck in the emotional traffic jam, she zooms past, leaving chaos in her rearview mirror. Sorry, but this relationship has become more of a pothole than a smooth road. Time to upgrade, she might say with a casual shrug, as if she's just decided to switch from one Netflix series to another. But there's a catch to her superpower of detachment. It can make her seem a bit cold or unapproachable. People often wonder if she has a heart made of ice or if she simply forgot to bring it along for the ride. The truth is, her ability to walk away without looking back comes from a place of self-preservation. She values her mental health and emotional stability above all else, and if a relationship threatens that, she won't hesitate to draw the line. However, this talent for emotional triage can sometimes leave her feeling isolated. While she's busy building her fortress of solitude, she may not realize that some of the connections she lets go of could have been worth nurturing. But hey, in her mind, life's too short to linger in the weeds when there's a vast garden of opportunity waiting to be explored. Number 10. Indifference as a weapon. A Sigma. Female wields indifference like a samurai handles a sword, precisely and without hesitation. If someone disappoints her, she doesn't raise her voice or engage in a dramatic confrontation. No, that's far too predictable. Instead, she pulls out her most powerful weapon, absolute unflinching indifference. One minute she's there, paying attention, perhaps even seeming to care, and the next, she's as emotionally distant as a cat that suddenly loses interest after you've stopped petting it the right way. And just like that, the connection is severed without a single word. For those on the receiving end, this sudden shift is a bewildering experience. They go from being in her orbit to floating in a void, wondering what went wrong. Her emotional cutoff isn't about being petty or seeking revenge, it's about making a statement without saying a thing. It's as if she's turned off a switch, leaving the other person to scramble around in the dark, trying to figure out where the light went. And she doesn't just stop caring. She becomes a master at making it clear that she's stopped caring. Her responses become curt, her smiles vanish, and her presence feels more like a distant memory than a reality. What makes this so brutal is the psychological warfare of it all. She's not screaming, she's not blaming, she's just gone, emotionally speaking. Her indifference makes people question their worth in her life because they suddenly realize how little their presence affects her. It's like being benched without being told why the game was canceled. This kind of emotional shutdown has a chilling effect, making even the toughest of hearts second-guess themselves. And while she might not admit it, she knows just how powerful this tactic is. It's her way of maintaining control, ensuring that no one gets the upper hand in her world, all while leaving her victims wondering how they got outplayed so effortlessly. Embracing the complexities of being a Sigma female means acknowledging the shadows that accompany her fierce independence and relentless pursuit of growth. Her effortless detachment and unwavering standards may paint her as unapproachable or aloof, but beneath that exterior lies a multifaceted individual who values authenticity and personal peace above all. Each dark side serves as both a shield and a mirror, reflecting her struggles and aspirations. While her quest for perfection and logical empathy can create an emotional distance, these traits also fuel her relentless drive for self-improvement and depth. The restlessness that pushes her to seek more keeps her life rich with experiences, even if it sometimes leads to a lingering sense of emptiness. Yet it's this very journey that makes her uniquely captivating, a paradox of strength and vulnerability that draws others in, even if she often keeps them at arm's length. Ultimately, the Sigma female navigates life on her terms, fearlessly carving her path while wrestling with the weight of her choices. She knows that embracing her darker sides is just as vital as celebrating her strengths. In doing so, she becomes not just a figure of intrigue, but a force to be reckoned with, one who challenges the status quo, inspires those around her, and continues to redefine what it means to thrive in a world that often demands conformity. As she strides confidently into the unknown, she invites others to recognize the beauty in complexity, reminding us all that the shadows we carry can illuminate our greatest strengths. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into the captivating world of Sigma females and want to explore more thought-provoking content like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Join our community for a front-row seat to fascinating insights, engaging discussions, and a journey through the intricacies of human nature that will keep you enlightened and entertained. Don't miss out on future videos that challenge norms and spark your curiosity. Subscribe now, and let's unravel the extraordinary together. Thanks for watching, Jules. See you in the next video. Bye for now and stay blessed.